Hi.
Hola.
Hi, here's Mr. Dozy.
This is Michael Bradley.
Hey, I'm Memphis.
Hey.
Hola. Hello.
I'm here with soccer.com.
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 And I'm talking with my friends soccer.com.
See you soon.
Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the Adidas X16 Plus PureChaos in the limited edition Spacecraft colorway. Now included with the shoes inside the box is this white boot bag with the Adidas logo on the side tag. They also include this little tag right here, which has the Adidas logo on one side, and then on the opposite side you can see it says September 2016, which is the month of the release. It says limited collection, and then you can see that I have pair number 690 of 1,000 total pairs worldwide. So this was a limited edition release that has since sold out. So if you want to get a pair, unfortunately you're going to have to turn to the resale market. As far as the shoes themselves go, you can see they are very, very gold in color. But aside from that, you can see that they're distinctively different from other PureChaos models in that the forefoot area is made from leather. That's something we're going to be talking about a lot in today's video, comparing it to the standard variation, determining whether or not this is better, worse, or simply just different in comparison to a standard PureChaos. And of course, we'll go over all the other tech specs, take a look at the colorway in detail, take a look at the weight of the shoe, as well as how they fit and feel on feet. So if you are interested in learning more, please stick around and watch the entire video. If you are interested in a pair of these for yourself, the original retail price was $330 US, so $30 more than a regular pair of PureChaos boots. But like I said, they did sell out. If you want to check out the review page on my website, there'll be a little pop-up on screen. It'll also be the first link down below in the description. And on that page, you will find the high quality images that I took of this exact pair. That'll give you a better idea as to how they look in person. And I will leave a link to eBay if you are at all interested in buying them, again, in the resale market. So with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk tech specs and performance. Now, of course, the big thing with this particular release is the fact that you do have the kangaroo leather here at the front. Now, what's interesting about this implementation on the PureChaos is that you would normally have a seam right here anyway. So putting this leather at the front, while it looks a little bit unusual, that's how the synthetic model is too. So when you put them on, you don't really notice this seam that does look kind of clunky from the outside. With that being said, the kangaroo leather at the front is pretty decent. It's not the best leather that I've ever seen on a pair of shoes, even from Adidas. I think you get better quality leather from something like a Gloro 16.1 or especially an Adidas Copa Mundial, but this is on par with something like what we used to see from older leather F50 models, which again, gets the job done. But I will say this, and I've always been critical of leather shoes from Adidas and other brands that only have a small amount of leather, because obviously this just spans from the middle of the forefoot forward, is that if you really want that leather-like sensation in terms of comfort and touch on the ball, this probably isn't your best option, just because there isn't very much leather on the upper. With that said, it does change the fit and feel in the forefoot area. Obviously this is going to stretch a little bit as you wear them in, and the touch will be a little bit more padded and softer in general at the front part of the shoe. But again, if you're looking for that kind of more traditional leather feel, that's not necessarily what this is going to provide. The leather itself has some decent thickness to it, so it's not overly thin at all. So definitely thicker than what you'll find from the standard synthetic PureChaos. But basically from the leather back, the shoe is pretty much just a regular PureChaos, which I guess is kind of interesting because the PureChaos is a pretty good shoe. So what you're going to find on the surface of the synthetic part is a slightly different pattern. This has more of like a snake scale look to it, as you can see. It does have some texturing, but not necessarily something that's going to make an impact in terms of touch on the ball that I would say is going to be particularly noticeable. Obviously, the shoe appears to be laceless. It isn't. There is a lacing system on the PureChaos as well as the Messi 16 Plus Pure Agility. It's just that most people don't take pictures with the laces sticking out, so that's why a lot of people are under the impression that these are laceless models. But the laces play a huge role in terms of tightening the shoe, holding your foot in place, and adding general responsiveness. The lacing system is fairly shallow. It's only 3 lace holes, not necessarily lace holes. There's some nylon lace straps or loops that the laces run through, and like I said, when you put them on, you pull the ends of the laces, it tightens everything and locks everything in place quite nicely. And that of course is all under this prime cut collar or prime cut lace cover is what they call it. And sorry, Pure Cut lace cover. That's wrong. Prime Cut is the mid cut on the Pure Control. Pure Cut is the lace cover on the PureChaos. A little bit confusing, but we got it right. Nonetheless, underneath this is the Tech Fit upper, the Tech Fit system. So that is this kind of thicker elasticated material that you see sticking out. It kind of gives it this mid-cut look. That extends pretty much the entire midfoot area up until this particular seam. So when you put your foot inside the shoe, this does have kind of a compression type fit, so it stretches out a little bit and then compresses to your foot, giving you a nice kind of tight but not overly tight wrap around your foot through the midfoot. But like I said, it feels very, very good, and it doesn't feel overly bulky, even though there technically are 2 layers of materials here, with this material inside and then of course the lace cover on top of that, and the lace is kind of sandwiched in between. So in regards to just touch in general, you're going to have a more padded sensation at the front with the leather, and then a slightly more kind of pingy sensation throughout the rest of the shoe. This is not overly thin by any means, but it's definitely not as padded or as cushioned feeling as what you'll get from the leather at the front. This does have the non-stop grip branding on the shoe itself, although I will say this, it doesn't have non-stop grip dots, so that's something that, I don't know, I don't really have an answer for, but it does, like I said, have the texturing from the snake scales, as you guys can see. Moving on to the heel area, like I said, it does kind of have a mid-cut aspect to it, although this very much fits and feels like a low-cut shoe, despite on how it might look. This kind of goes up a little bit higher, just for the sake of going up higher. And then, of course, you do have the S-curve heel that, again, is kind of just an extension piece that doesn't necessarily need to be there, and you don't really feel it while you're playing either. Internally, you have kind of a synthetic suede liner with these little grip dots going down the back of the heel. A little bit difficult to see, but they are there, and they are quite effective in terms of gripping your sock and just holding your heel in place fairly nicely. You do have a removable insole. I'll give you guys a look at that. This is a synthetic suede liner, and then of course it's just a solid layer of this foam. Nothing too fancy, but it does get the job done. And then of course the bottom, it is a sprint frame construction, which does include the one-piece heel counter, which you can see my reflection in. And then of course the bottom, which does have pretty much the same general construction as what you're going to find from all the current high-end Adidas models. They just vary up the patterns and the spines through the midfoot, but the general feel is pretty consistent whether you buy an X, an Ace, or a messy model, and in the high-end range at least. And then the stud pattern, again, it's FGAG from Adidas. It's the same layout that you will find from all their other lines, just with slightly different studs. Works quite well on natural grass. It does work on artificial grass as well, although I definitely would say that this is more of an FG stud pattern from Adidas. With that said, it is safe to use on both surfaces, so if you do play on both natural and artificial grass and only want to buy one pair of shoes, you can get away with pretty much any of the models from the X, Ace, and Messy lines. So overall, it's a stud pattern that's fairly proven at this point, nothing groundbreaking in terms of performance, but it gets the job done, and I guess that's the best way to put it. In regards to weight, I thought we'd compare the standard synthetic PureChaos to the leather PureChaos to see if there's any significant weight difference between the two. So I'm going to weigh both shoes for you today in real time using this scale. Keep in mind they're both in brand new condition and both the exact same size 9 US. We'll start off with the synthetic model, throw it on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 6.9 ounces, the equivalent of 196 grams. So right under the 200 gram mark. Remember those numbers, pull these off the scale, and we'll throw on the leather version, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.7 ounces, the equivalent of 218 grams. So you're talking about a weight difference of 0.8 ounces, almost a full ounce more than the synthetic model. Obviously, this has to do with the design changes that they made to implement this leather here at the front. Is it a big weight difference? Not necessarily, but it is somewhat noticeable on your feet as well as in hand. So if having the lightest possible version of the PureChaos is one of your main concerns, the synthetic model is a fair bit cheaper. But again, this is a limited edition release at this point, so unless you were lucky and got one of the 1,000 pairs available, it's not necessarily something that you have to concern yourself with all that much. In regards to aesthetics and just the general colorway, because this is a limited edition release, I think they look okay. The color combination I think is really nice, having the gold and black, but I will say that I am more fond of kind of the crackle splitting pattern that you would find on a regular pair of X's, but this is, I guess, something a little bit different, just not personally what I'm too crazy about. So you get the snake scales in more of a metallic gold. You have a slightly different shade of gold for the leather, for obvious reasons. It's the same color, but because it's different materials, it's gonna look a little bit different. You have the gold on gold Adidas logo, which I feel like this should have been black in this particular situation. And then of course you have the metallic gold sprint frame, which does come with the warning sticker letting you know that the metallic finish will wear off over time, as you'll find with all of the PureChaos models. And then of course you have your black accent in the form of the tech fit area kind of sticking out here around the heel and ankle area. And then of course the translucent black studs. So the only real imperfection that you'll find on the shoe, and I think this is just part of the colorway, is the actual white in the non-stop grip kind of branding right there. And I think it's just because of how they etched it out. I don't necessarily think that this is a manufacturing defect. You have it on both shoes, but that is something worth pointing out that I guess jumps out as not necessarily a quality issue, but something that just doesn't look right on what is a $330 shoe at the end of the day. So let me know what you guys think of these down below in the comment section. Do you like how they look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the on feet portion of the video so we can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit and feel on feet. All right, so here is a look at the PureChaos on feet. Again, this does have the leather at the front, but because the seam would normally be there anyways, the difference in feel is fairly minimal. You can definitely tell that it's leather at the front as opposed to synthetic. It's a little bit softer and a little bit thicker in general, but honestly, with a blindfold on, if you put a leather one on the left foot and a synthetic one on the right foot, you'd have a pretty hard time telling the difference just in terms of the general comfort level. So that hasn't really changed, even though you do have what is technically a softer material in the forefoot and toe box area. In regards to the rest of the shoe, it's the same as a regular pair of PureChaos. You have the Tech Fit internal system that fits pretty snug, but is at the same time nice and comfortable. It wraps your foot quite nicely. Then you do have the Pure Cut lace cover over top of that. The only downside of the lace cover is it doesn't give you the greatest access to the laces themselves, so you kind of only have the ability to pull the ends in order to tighten them, so you can't really tighten them section by section. So if you like your shoes really, really tight, maybe these aren't the best option for you, but they still have a nice snug fit overall. Width-wise, it is what I would classify as a tighter fitting shoe, but definitely not overly tight. Certainly not like a Mercurial or something like that. So for the most part, they will fit most people. They're not exceptionally wide. Really wide-footed people, probably not the best option, but they will fit most people in general. So as long as you don't mind a tighter fit, you shouldn't have any issues with the fit on this particular shoe. And of course, as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that is it for my review of the limited edition Spacecraft X16 Plus PureChaos from Adidas. If you guys are interested in more info, you can go ahead and check out the review page on my website, which you can access by either clicking the little eye in the corner of the screen, or it'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. If you have any questions at all regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comments and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.